So Joe Biden is toast. That's putting it very gently and kindly and as soft as I can. We have some new poll numbers that just came out, so let me go ahead and throw this up on the screen for you. This is from The Hill. They say President Biden's disapproval rating reached a new high in December, according to a new CNBC Change Research poll. Overall, the survey showed 56% of voters disapproved of Biden's performance in office, an uptick from 54% in September and 49% in April. His approval rating now stands at 44%. Now, that's the lowest in this particular poll, by the way. I should be clear about that. Biden was particularly hard hit when it came to the public's opinion of his handling of the economy and the COVID-19 pandemic. Specifically, the poll indicated that 60% of respondents disapproved of Biden's handling of the economy and 55% disapproved of his pandemic response. For the economy, 72% said they disapprove of Biden's management of the price of everyday goods, and 66% said they did not approve of the president's efforts to help their wallets. Now, Biden used to do very well on the issue of the pandemic. He used to have very high grades on the issue of the pandemic. Now that's tanked, and it's tanked because of the Omicron surge, where we have, a record number of cases every single day rolling in. Now, hospitalizations are going up, but they're still not, past the Delta peak, or maybe even the original peak, because, we have such a large percentage of the population is vaccinated. So when a lot of people get Omicron, it's more just, standard cold symptoms, but there's still plenty of people who are unvaccinated. And so there is an uptick in hospitalizations, and I'm sure deaths are rising as well, and they might rise even more. But the other day we had over 1 million official cases. Now, understand also, official cases are not a true indicator of the actual number of Omicron cases happening in this surge, because I know plenty of people who've gotten Omicron who were never counted in any official statistics because they didn't go get any official PCR test. Maybe they took a rapid test, maybe they didn't, but there's plenty of people get it, and then they're not part of the official statistics. So when they say it's like 1 million cases a day, Lord knows how many more there actually are floating around out there. So on the issue of the pandemic, which used to be a strong suit, now that's imploded. On the issue of the economy, it's funny because the news is trying to hype up this idea that, well, the stock market is doing well. But as I tell you guys all the time, the stock market is not a great indicator of how your average American is doing. So it's not something that I like to talk about under Republican presidents or Democratic presidents. I don't want to give credit for something that's not a true indicator of the health of your average American. So they could try to push that narrative all they want, and the Biden administration is trying to lean on the idea that the market is doing well, but that's really not a good argument. It's just not. So he's really got nothing going on for him right now. Now, Joe Biden had recently said, well, yeah, I get it. My poll numbers are not doing too well right now, but the way it works is the polls go up and the polls go down. So, people might not be feeling too hot about me right now, but check back in a month or 2 months or 3 months and boom, all of a sudden it'll pop back up. That's just the way it works. That's the way it worked with Trump. That's the way it's going to work for me. That's the way it worked with Obama. And what he should be noticing at this point is that is definitely not true. There's not just a cycle that is inherent to poll numbers when you're talking about the president or any other politician. I mean, for the love of God, we talk about the congressional poll numbers all the time. It varies between 7 or 8% and 23%. Usually it's high when it's at 23%. Are they going to have polls that just go up and down and, hey, maybe next week it'll be at 84% popularity? No, that's not the way it works. You actually have to do something, or at least have the appearance of doing something, helping people, in order for your poll numbers to go up. And look, I'll submit to you guys right now, what the hell is he doing? What's he doing? Well, there is one answer. And, if you want to give him some modicum of credit on this front, I understand, because he just announced something which is an attempt to fight inflation, namely when it comes to meat and when it comes to, it might even be beef in particular. So there's been a giant increase in the price of beef, and the actual reason for that is monopolization. So you have 4 big, I think it's meat packing companies, and they're basically colluding to keep the price high. And so Biden announced, look, we need more competition in order to lower those prices. And so he's doing a $1 billion initiative to try to, have other meat producers and other meat packers who are smaller in size, have the government subsidize them so that you can have more competition, therefore destroying the monopolies' hold on the game. And so is that a good idea? Sure. I mean, it's a step in the right direction, but I mean, listen, even under a best case scenario, this is like a long-term approach to try to deal with inflation. Now, some numbers came out the other day too. This was mind-blowing. 60% of inflation is going to corporate profits. So in other words, that Business Insider article that we covered on this show a while back, which said, hey, listen, there are outlets like Walmart that they're just jacking up their prices, even if these particular goods are not necessarily caught up in the supply chain crisis, so there is no natural inflation with it. They're using inflation as an excuse to jack up their prices. Now that's happening in an even more widespread way. So really the only way that you're going to handle inflation is to take on the corporations directly. Sure, the idea that Biden floated is fine, but you need to enforce our antitrust laws. You need to actually crack down by using our anti-monopoly laws on the books. You got to break up some companies, and you have to do it now. And, the other thing is, yes, the supply chain is what's to blame for the rest of the crisis. So you have corporate profits, you have monopolies, but then you also have the supply chain crisis, which is still a crisis, which, you should be doing more to address. Now, they have people working around the clock at some of these ports that are backed up and clogged, but there should be more resources that are dumped into this issue. And you got to do something now. That's the point. And one of the other problems with Biden is that even if he does something that's good, which is rare, he has no idea how to market it, how to sell it. Like, Trump was a terrible president, but one of the things he would always do is put on the show to make you think. Remember when he was doing those COVID daily briefings, and he would go out there and say, we're doing wonderful, we had this under control, we're fighting, we're making therapeutics, it's great. And sometimes, since he's so much of an idiot, he screwed it up because he'd go out there and say, maybe if we get some sunlight inside the body, or if you get some bleach inside the body, then maybe that'll help. So, he's dumb, so that came back to bite him in the ass. But at least there was the appearance of being a leader and doing something. Andrew Cuomo, back when he had his highest approval ratings. Now, granted, this guy's a scumbag and a criminal, and everything is optics with that guy. But when he did his daily, COVID press conferences, people were like, well, now that's a leader. And he had very high approval ratings, the highest in the country when it comes to a governor. Biden, even if he does something good, which is rare, there's very little bragging about it, marketing it, letting everybody know there's an adult in charge, showing it. So what are you going to do, Joe Biden? What are you going to do that impacts right now? And remember, he's got his executive order pen, which is incredibly powerful. And fight, do something. Try to cut another stimulus check. Make a big show of it. Trump tried to do that through executive order at one point. You should try to do the same thing. You should call a press conference about it. And if you can't do it through executive order, then try to do it through regular order and call the Republicans in and put pressure on them. Do a press conference where you say, look, we need 60 votes in order to get this through. We're going to try to get a $2,000 stimulus check to everybody. I'm here to tell you I'm on board. Every Democratic senator is on board. And look, we got holdouts in the Republican Party. Maybe I could get one or two. But hey, you American people, maybe you should pick up the phone and call these Republicans and tell them you need another stimulus check because I'm ready and willing and waiting to get you another stimulus check. But these guys are obstructionists. These sons of bitches don't want to help the American people in any way, shape, or form. I'm here to help the American people. I'm here to be a leader. I'm here to guide the process. I want to give you $2,000. I want to do that right now. I understand the hurt that's out there. I understand the struggle and the pain that's out there. I understand that people are having a hard time getting by. I understand what inflation is doing to your wallet. I understand how bad the economy is for the average Joe and Jane. Well, I'm here to fight for you. I'm here to do the right thing, and I'm not going to stop until I get it done. But I need your help in the process. Pick up the phone, call, let everybody know, hey, support President Biden's $2,000 stimulus checks and do it right now. Do something. Give me some appearance of leadership. Actually sign some executive orders that might help people. I mean, we talk about it all the time on this show, but when it comes to the student loan debt crisis, you've got nearly $2 trillion in the student loan debt crisis, which is nothing but an anchor tied to the ankle of an entire generation. You can get rid of all that with the stroke of a pen. You want to talk about a stimulus for the American economy? Well, that would help massively. How many people have not been able to buy their first house, or haven't been able to get a new car, or haven't been able to participate in the economy in a more normal fashion because they're so held back by student loans. Now, thankfully, right now there's they temporarily extended the pause. Okay, good, I'll take it. They were going to have to start on, February 1st or something like that. But no, permanently eliminate it. Go out there, sign an executive order. You know what? We're done with this. No more student loan debt. We're wiping the debt slate clean. And by the way, I'm going to do an executive order which does rolling student loan debt elimination, which is effectively free college. Do something, Joe Biden. Do something. And he's not. I don't know what planet this guy lives on where you think, somehow people are going to start liking you when you haven't done Dickie McGee's Act since the $1,400 check last year? I mean, get out of here with that. People are saying, what have you done for me lately? And the answer is bupkis. You haven't done anything, which is why your numbers are in the dump. Now, I told you, it's just for this poll, he's at a record low. His approval rating is 44%, disapproval is 56%. There was one poll that we talked about, we had him at 38%. It wasn't from this polling company. This is the lowest from this particular polling company, so CNBC Change Research poll. But, man, it ain't just going to come back up, Joe. You better get to work. If you're not going to lead, at least have the appearance of leadership. And I don't see it. The Democrats have a crisis of imagination. They don't even believe in the power of government, which is why, remember that clip that went viral where you had Jen Psaki? It's like, what do you want us to send tests to every American? And even our shitty media, the journalist was like, yeah, other countries have done that. And then you kind of shamed the government into doing an about face and saying, okay, right, well, we're going to do something kind of similar to that where we, you could request it and then you will get it for free. We're working on the details of that right now. But they have this crisis of imagination where that's their default stance for everything. Hey, government, can you do this basic function of government? Pfft, don't be ridiculous. It's neoliberal rot is what it is. So look, I'm here to tell Joe Biden, iceberg dead ahead. You got a midterm election coming up. Nobody likes you. Your numbers are in the dumps on every single front. The economy, COVID, which are the two biggest things, by the way. So if you don't get to work, you're toast. But of course, the conventional wisdom in Washington is what? The more Biden does, the more progressive he is, the worse that is for the midterms because people are afraid Biden's already gone too far left. I'm not kidding. This is what they actually think in Democratic circles in Washington, D.C. They've internalized the bogus narrative of their opponents. And they have no problem governing in that sort of a non-existent way. So, here we are. Joe Biden is truly screwed, and it's never been more clear. Hey, y'all, do me a favor and like and subscribe. It helps out big time in the algorithm. Click the bell as well for notifications when videos drop, and watch that video on screen right now. You know you want to.